everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Angel Azzarra, and I'm a professional opera singer and voice teacher. And today I'm going to be reacting to Adele pre and post laser microscopy. Before I get into that, I do want to say, yes, I'm still at Noémie's. We are really excited because tomorrow our concert at Eastman School of Music goes up. I'm really looking forward to singing the Bachianas Brasileiras, Aria Cantilena and Danza with the faculty at Eastman and some of their wonderful cellists. And I'm also really looking forward to collaborating with Noémie on the Andre Previn 4 songs. We're only doing 3 because of sort of timing with the concert, because there's just a lot of moving parts and because the Bachianas is also quite long. But we're really looking forward to it, and we've been working really hard. So I'm just trying to get a couple of videos in while I'm still here in Rochester. It's very snowy, so it's nice to be curled up inside and listening to good music. If you want to see that video, the video of this, me being in Rochester, it is coming soon, and there will be some of me singing, so you'll finally get to hear me if you haven't already creeped on the internet, which is also totally okay, even though those videos are old. But I'm really, really excited for you guys to hear the Previn and the Bachianas, because I think that they're just beautiful pieces, and I'm getting to sing them with some amazing musicians, so it's gonna be good. Now, as far as Adele's video today, I just wanted to do this because I have also had vocal health issues in the past. It is one of the reasons why I am such a stickler now for vocal health, and why, I mean, I've always been a big pedagogy nerd, and I've always, you know, I have a stack of textbooks that I keep by my bedside, and I'm always researching different things about the voice and how it functions, because there's just so many moving parts to it. But I really wanted to try doing Adele. I'm not doing a recent Adele. I'm doing Adele in 2011, which is the year she had the surgery, but this is the early Royal Albert Hall performance in 2011. And then another performance that I'm analyzing post-surgery is only, I think, 5 months after the surgery. And I wanted to do this because I know that it's possible she fell back into old habits. I'm not really sure, but I wanted to see her at her most, I don't want to say cautious, but most aware of the issues that caused the polyp in the first place. A polyp is just a benign growth that exists on the cords. Imagine that the cords connect kind of like a zipper, and a polyp just sort of gets in the way of you fully zipping up the sweater that is your voice. Analogies. So think about it like that. It just gets in the way. It can cause hoarseness. It can cause issues with pitch, and most dangerous, it can cause issues with vocal hemorrhage, because the polyp itself develops blood vessels around it that are very delicate, and when you're slamming them together, more pressure gets on the polyp, on the little bump. So the more that your cords are oscillating, the more you're smacking that polyp and risking it bursting like a blister. And it's incredibly dangerous to have a vocal hemorrhage. So it's very smart that she got the laser microscopy, even though in and of itself, the laser microscopy is a risky surgery. So let's see how she sounds.
I heard that you're settled down, that you found a girl and you're married now.
Sorry, I stopped right on it. What I hear immediately is, I heard that you settled down, that you found a girl and you're... So her voice sounds very dark and rich and raspy and beautiful, and that's Adele's sound. But the breathing in between is not good. It's very high. Just take a breath like that, where you can hear it. Do you feel all that cold air traveling down to your cords? Not good to have that sort of intake just before you sing, because it dries you out, and it's also a completely unsupported breath. All of the resonance is in her chest, which means that instead of having airflow feel like it's a very long tube, it's a shorter tube, and there's more pressure being pushed through your vocal cords because it's coming from a shorter distance.
I heard that your dreams came true. Guess she gave you things I didn't give to you. Oh, It ain't like you to hold back or hide from the light. I hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay away, I couldn't fight it. I had hoped you'd see my face and that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over.
Everything about her sound is so beautiful. The raspiness, that is not what sounds like a dysfunction to me. That just sounds like dehydration. But that effect could also be coming across from the very high breaths that she's taking. But again, back to that analogy, because I'm really not sure if I explained it very clearly. When you take a long, deep breath and you feel like you're supporting from your abdomen, even though, of course, that's not where your lungs are. It's where your excretory organs are that are being pushed out of the way by your diaphragm to make room for your lungs expansion. You have this longer tube. So it feels like when you begin to sing, movement is already happening because the air is already flowing through your trachea. If you're breathing and the air is only, filling your lungs quite high, it's just not as much time to travel, so that movement starts just a little bit too quick and a little bit too abrasively. So the chords are getting a stronger puff of air right at the beginning instead of this sort of steady stream that the chords can sort of meet at the middle. That's what I'm trying to explain. I'm not sure if that analogy makes sense to the non-singers that are watching. I'm sorry, please comment and I will try to explain it as best I can. But on the fly, that's what makes the clearest sense to me as an explanation. It's just too much puffs of air at the beginning of every phrase, and it really wears your chords down.
Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me, I beg. I'll remember you said sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Yeah.
So I'm not going to listen to a whole bunch more of this song. I'm not going to listen to it in its entirety because to me, the aperture that she has in her belt is fine. She has that salad smile. It's not totally wide, but it's much wider than a classical position. Her jaw is dropped. It's not jutting forward. Her tongue is flat and relaxed at the front of the mouth. So everything that I'm seeing in her formant, in her creation here, is fine. It's all in these high breaths that she's taking. I even think that the balance is fine. She has a much chestier belt. Not that she has a similar color to Demi Lovato, but they do have similar mixes, and it's a very power belt sound with much heavier chest than other belters out there. But I don't see anything wrong in the creation that she has from, the jaw up. That all looks good. It's just the breath and the wear and tear that's coming from breathing like that every single time she's breathing. I haven't heard a quiet breath once. So I think that's what it is. Everything else is very musical. Everything else is set up extremely well. But even amazing singers like Adele can have these issues. And it doesn't seem like a big issue at first. Oh, it's a high breath. Take a low breath next time. But over the course of time, it becomes an issue. It's not like she had, one note that she cracked and then her voice disappeared. It's that she had a bad habit that just degraded her instrument over a long course of time. And that's really what it was. When I had vocal issues, it's actually because of a similar issue. It was a breath issue, not that it was this issue. And maybe I'll get into that in a video someday. But I did spend a solid 6 months rehabilitating my voice and reading everything on the voice I could find and et cetera, and here I am. So let's jump now to her post-surgery. I'm really, really hoping that I don't hear her breathe.
There's a fire starting in my heart, reaching a fever pitch. reaching is bringing me after dark. Finally, I can see you crystal clear. Go ahead and sell me out and I'll lay your shit.
So you see that she's holding her hand across her chest. I still hear an audible breath, but it feels like she's at least trying to get it here instead of feeling the breath here. See how it's still audible, but you can't see my abs, but my abs are expanding. And my chest isn't raising. I'm also breathing in through my mouth with an open throat. Hear the difference between and. Do you hear that difference? I know it's, a breath, but hopefully you hear the first one gets a little lower, although it's still a very audible breath. It does get down further. And that high breath, it doesn't really go anywhere and it feels very held. So she is in a much more relaxed position with her breathing. She's also singing a little carefully right now, but in February, she was 3 months out of surgery. So it's March in this video. So she's 4 months out of a major vocal surgery. Also sounds like she's not playing with her color as much. It sounds like she's sort of keeping one steady, and it's a beautiful color, but it sounds like she's keeping one steady color throughout. I don't know if this is because she's playing it safe or because she wants to be as healthy as she can and she just doesn't want to add in all of those extra moving parts while she's focusing on a clean, healthy sound. I know I was much in the same boat when I was going through rehab. I wasn't experimenting as much with musicality and with phrasing. I was just like, I am going to sing as healthy as I can and I'm going to get straight through it. And it sounds like that's what she's doing here. That sounded like a super healthy belt. It also sounds, although it's still very chest heavy, it does sound a little bit smoother and it has a little bit more head voice in it. And even on Rolling in the Deep, she went into a full head voice, maybe a falsetto, because I did hear quite a bit of breath around the tone. But it's a very healthy, clean belt, and I'm not hearing almost any rasp. I know that she also stopped smoking cigarettes and she stopped drinking. I don't know if she has begun doing that since, now that it's 2020. This is from 2012. So maybe she's brought it back in because I feel like in recent years I've heard more rasp creep back into her sound. But this is a very clean belt. Again, she's keeping a very similar color throughout, which to me, if I were to describe it, it sounds almost like caramel. It's not super dark like chocolate. It's not super whited out or bright like raspberries. I don't know why I'm talking about food. I think it's because it's like way past lunchtime and I haven't eaten. But imagine that it's that sort of blended sound and it's beautiful and it's healthy.
Story to be told, but I've heard one on you and I'm gonna make your head burn. Think of me in them depths of your despair.
She's singing very well here, but she's rounding excessively around her vowels. And there's just a little bit, not raspiness or chest that's missing, but there's a little bit of support that she usually has coming from underneath that I'm not hearing. And it almost sounds like she's getting tired, like she's just getting tired, which is very, 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 very common after a major surgery. It's very, very common when you're in rehab because you're just not singing as much. So your stamina has to be built back up. And that's what it sounds like to me, that she's taking care to focus not on all of the wonderful things that she can do with phrasing and all of the wonderful things that she does musically with, vibrato and different colors and blah, blah, blah. But she's focusing on keeping a very steady sound and phonating well, cleanly with a healthy mix that's not carrying up so much chest or so much raspiness. And it just sounds like she's getting tired because that's what happens when you rehabilitate your voice. You have to take baby steps. And obviously singing Rolling in the Deep live at the Brits Award is a bigger baby step than most people will ever take in their lives. So it's incredible that she's singing so soon after the rehabilitation. And I'm actually going to stop it here. I don't think it's necessary for me to watch each video in its entirety because I feel like I hear what was happening before and I hear what was happening after. I just kind of wanted to touch on it with you guys and talk a little bit about how vocal hemorrhaging can happen, how a polyp can form, and what vocal rehabilitation is like for a singer. It's very difficult. You don't focus on the things that you would focus on when you're just, performing regularly. You're focusing in an entirely different way on your instrument. And I don't want to say that she's singing carefully because it's still a strong sound, but she is singing with different thoughts in mind. She's singing with the thought that she's going to sing healthily. She's singing with the thought that she's going to keep a continuous legato sound in her voice. And she does, and she's succeeding very, very well. So I hope that you have enjoyed this analysis of pre and post vocal trauma and vocal surgery for Adele. If you found this video informational or helpful at all, please like and subscribe. And toi 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 until next time.